In today's video, we'll be talking about the work-life balance for business owners. It's a very important subject, and I think there's no better way to discuss it by taking you for a flight to Old Warden. We'll talk about where it all starts, what are the reasons for business owners struggling with their work-life balance, and then we'll talk about the 5 tips that you can implement straight away to regain that little bit of a healthy work-life balance. So it was a very nice flight, and here I am at Old Warden. So let's now talk about why it is so important to have a healthy work-life balance. Well, it all starts, unfortunately, with the way we are brought up, which, don't get me wrong, is a very good thing, because we as business owners for sure have a very, very hard-working ethic. So we know what it means to work hard, and that is actually very good. Without working hard, as you know, you wouldn't be able to succeed in business. But there comes a point where you really have to cut it off. You really have to understand that there is a limit. That limit will show up. It will either affect your health, it might affect your relationships, it might affect your friendships, or it might affect everything altogether. So when you then think about it in the grand scheme of things, did you really start the business to just be overwhelmed and work all the time, losing your friends, losing your family, and losing your health? Well, no, that is not why we started businesses. So in order to understand why you end up being so overwhelmed without a healthy work-life balance, then you probably have to go back to your early days in your life. And I don't mean days, I mean years. It's probably your parents who pushed you really hard. They wanted you to succeed. They probably didn't know you'll succeed in business, but they wanted you to learn a lot and then work hard so that you end up with a nice living. And obviously they wanted the best for you, so there's nothing wrong in that. But it's important just to know where it all began. Now, the reason why that is important is because business owners quite often find it very difficult to simply not work. It is in their veins, it's in their blood. Hard working is in their DNA. So they find it very difficult to simply just sit back and relax. And when you think about sports people, like, it's natural for them to relax. It's part of training is resting. You can't possibly have a sprinter, an Olympic sprinter, sprinting all day long all the time. No, they need to practice, they need to train hard, but also give enough time for resting. And resting is as important as the workouts themselves. So now let's relate that to business. Well, you're also performing like an Olympic athlete. You are at your best, or at least you have to be at your best when you're working. So you also need to rest. Like they all go together. Now, when it comes to a healthy work-life balance, well, you would have to define for yourself what that healthy is, because obviously there are various ways. Some might say that 1 hour of me time is healthy, others might say more. But what I would say is that a healthy work-life balance is when you work for 8 hours. And this has been around for years, the typical 8-hour workday. And me personally, I really think that is spot on. We will, however, in a while discuss the 5 tips that you can implement straight away so that you do regain a healthy work-life balance. So tip number 1 is to set firm boundaries. And by this I mean define when you start work, define when you finish work, and that's it. Don't be tempted to stay over or catch up with work by going earlier. So remember, it is down to you to set those boundaries. You don't have a manager above you because you are your manager, so it is down to you to create them for yourself. Secondly is something I call the relay runner rule, which means that once you're handed a task, you run with it until you complete that task. So this is a great way to improve your time management skills, getting things done. Don't open up 10 things and leave them forever, because that is an invitation for procrastination. So remember, it's the relay runner rule. The third tip is to focus on results. It's kind of obvious, but quite often we just forget about it. We just go to work just for work's sake. We just go into this jungle, fight every day, trying to cut out a path, and then we come in the following day doing exactly the same because it has all overgrown. So again, we really have to be active, proactive, and focus on what needs to be done, and together with the relay runner rule, work on it until it is finished. The fourth tip is to switch off when you are not at work. Again, it's easier said than done. As entrepreneurs, as business owners, we almost constantly think about business, but try and just simply switch off. Understand that there's not much you'll do in the evening, whereas if you are physically present with your children or your family, but you are actually not present as in terms of your thoughts, then unfortunately that doesn't count. So remember to be able to switch off. And the final step is about not feeling guilty. Again, it's one of those things that is much easier said than done, but it is very important. Procrastination, sorry, I've got some friends coming over. Just gonna wave to them. Yeah. They've come in from the same airport. We basically agreed that a few of us are going to come in and meet over here just for lunch, tea, and then fly back. So a very good way to show you how you can also create this work-life balance. There's time for work and there's time for fun. So going back to feeling guilty, it's a horrible feeling. I've had that. I couldn't leave work at 5. I just felt, oh my god, I just have to stay here. People around me are going to think I'm lazy, that I don't deserve to succeed and all of that. I know it's difficult, but just get rid of those thoughts. Just understand that it is okay to have free time. You really deserve it. More than that, you absolutely need free time to recharge your batteries and be a much better business owner. So those were the 5 tips. Please try and implement them as soon as possible so that you become this thriving, high-performing business owner. I'm going to go for lunch. There's another friend come in from Popham, which is another airfield in a very nice aircraft. So I'm going to hop over for lunch and then I'll see you on the way back. So we're back, and remember that maintaining a healthy work-life balance is very, very important, especially for business owners. You are the person that is in charge of your company. You have your team, your hundreds, if not thousands of customers that you serve. So you have to be the Olympic athlete. Please take care of yourself.